1775, the American colonies are a boiling pot of anger and division. The Boston Tea Party has already sent a message, but war isn't a certainty yet. You've heard the textbook version, valiant patriots rising up against British tyranny. But what if I told you the truth is far more complicated? This wasn't just about taxes. It wasn't even just about freedom. The American Revolution was a tangled web of economic power, foreign intervention, civil war, and betrayal. Some of the founding fathers had their own personal stakes. Many Americans wanted to remain loyal to the British, and without France and Spain, the war might have been lost before it truly began. In history books, the revolution feels like destiny, a natural uprising against oppression. But the reality, a third of the population didn't want independence. Many colonists identified as British. They believed that England provided security, stability, and economic prosperity. After all, the British protected trade routes, defended against foreign threats, and had the strongest military in the world. Even within the Patriot cause, there was division. Some wanted fair representation under British rule, not war. Others, mainly wealthy merchants and landowners, saw independence as a chance to escape British economic restrictions and take more control over their wealth. The famous slogan, "No taxation without representation," is often simplified. The truth is, the taxes weren't crippling. The real issue was control. The colonies wanted the power to decide their own fate, but Britain refused to grant that authority. This was about who ruled who. The United States didn't win the revolution alone. It was a global war. Without foreign help, the dream of independence may have been crushed under British boots. The biggest player, France. The French didn't just send moral support, they sent guns, money, ships, and soldiers. The Marquis de Lafayette became a key military leader. The French Navy trapped the British at Yorktown, sealing the final American victory. France poured millions into the war, despite facing its own economic troubles. But France wasn't alone. Spain and the Dutch Republic also played vital roles. Spain fought Britain in the Mississippi Valley and Florida, while Dutch bankers funded the American war effort. The revolution wasn't just an American struggle, it was part of a much larger power game. Without these alliances, the American cause may have collapsed long before victory was possible. The revolution wasn't a neat, heroic war between patriots and redcoats. It was also a bloody civil war. Families were torn apart, brother against brother, neighbor against neighbor. Loyalist strongholds were burned. Patriots and Loyalists alike were executed in brutal ways. This was a war of revenge as much as it was a fight for freedom. And what about those caught in the middle? Native Americans and enslaved people had their own battles to fight. Many Native American tribes sided with the British, fearing that an independent U.S. would seize their lands. They were right. After the war, their lands were taken at an even faster rate. Enslaved people fought on both sides. The British promised freedom to any enslaved person who joined them. Thousands took the offer. Some were sent to British colonies as free people, while others faced betrayal. Washington's army also had black soldiers, but racial inequality remained. The revolution didn't bring liberty for everyone. This wasn't a clean war. This was a war of survival, fought with ruthless tactics. We like to think the founding fathers were solely driven by ideals of freedom and democracy. But many of them had economic and political interests in breaking away from Britain. Wealthy landowners saw independence as a chance to expand their territories without British interference. Merchants wanted to trade freely without British-imposed taxes and restrictions. Independence meant that America's elites could govern themselves without oversight from a king. And after the war, the United States still wasn't truly unified. The first government under the Articles of Confederation was weak. It lacked central power, and the states fought over their own interests. It wasn't until the U.S. Constitution in 1787 that the nation finally had a stable government. Even then, true freedom was limited. Women, Native Americans, and African Americans remained disenfranchised. The ideals of the revolution were powerful, but their reality, far from perfect. The American Revolution was about more than just freedom. It was about power, survival, and global politics. It was a war filled with betrayal, foreign intervention, and internal conflict. But its impact, undeniable. The revolution inspired other movements, from the French Revolution to Latin American independence. The idea of self-governance and democracy took root across the world. Yet, it also left behind contradictions. The U.S. was founded on liberty, yet denied full rights to so many. The struggle for true equality continues even today. Final thought, history is never as simple as we're taught. The American Revolution wasn't just about fighting for freedom, it was about power, survival, and the unexpected forces that shaped the world.